Take a look at this for 2 seconds and tell me what fragrance that reminds you of. I love a good deal. I love shopping at my local rack stores and just kind of going on that hunt to find the most affordable fragrances that last the longest amount of time. Recently, there have been a lot of Middle Eastern cologne fragrances popping up at my local rack stores and basically everywhere I see online. Shout out to my buddy Seth. He actually recommended this one to me. He sent me a picture and I had to pop over and pick this one up. A lot of these colognes are actually manufactured and produced by Camara perfumes. So if you ever see the Milestone Velvet collection, these kind of Dolce & Gabbana looking fragrances, as well as Shield and Shield Black, I think it's the ombre leather cologne, but they make a ton of cologne fragrances and they are pretty good. And today we're covering a fragrance that is a blatant clone of a pretty divisive fragrance. Take a look at this for 2 seconds and tell me what fragrance that reminds you of. If it's not immediately obvious, this is a clone of Mancera's Red Tobacco. Red Tobacco is definitely not for beginners. A lot of people say that it is one of the strongest fragrances and it is quite divisive, especially with the opening. And I see a lot of memes going about Instagram, floating around about Red Tobacco. It's just so funny because it's a powerhouse. But is this worth the $15 price tag? Let's find out. This one has top notes of cinnamon, agarwood, and nutmeg, with middle notes of patchouli and jasmine, and a base of tobacco, Madagascar vanilla, amber, and sandalwood. So this one does have a slightly different note breakdown from the OG Red Tobacco. It actually has been a while since I've smelled Mancera's Red Tobacco. I think it's been maybe about a year, but I'm gonna just be judging this one based off of how this smells. Like the Milestone perfumes, this one's atomizer is fantastic. It sprays it out perfectly. It's a fine mist and it goes really, really far. This is actually one of the best atomizers I've seen in a long time. I don't actually have the box like I've seen on some pictures online, but this one is an eau de parfum concentration. And like the Mancera, this actually has a really heavy, high quality metal cap that doesn't screw on, but it just kind of sits on top. Gotta give them points for that. And as you can see here on the label, it's probably a 20% concentration, and it's also made in the United Arab Emirates. So immediately off the top, I get cinnamon, pipe tobacco, saffron, and jasmine. You also get a little bit of patchouli in there, but this one, it's kind of an interesting combination up top. This one, when I first smelled it in store, I was a little bit turned off. I think the jasmine and the tobacco or something in it just smelled a little bit overbearing to me, and I don't know what it was about it. My guess is the jasmine. Jasmine for me is one of those notes that can kind of make or break a fragrance. Sometimes it smells really great when you blend it properly, but in this one, I think it did come across a little bit strong and a little bit too floral and just kind of heady. After spraying this one on my skin and on a tester strip and kind of letting it air out a little bit, I think this one does smell really good. You have a really kind of gourmand, earthy patchouli as well in there that smells a little bit chocolate-like, kind of creamy and woody at the same time, but it definitely smells warm and inviting. What's funny is this one kind of reminds me a little bit of Invite Only Amber 23 by K. Ali. I wouldn't say that these two fragrances are the same. I think it definitely has that sort of warm, cinnamon spiced kind of vibe with a little bit of that kind of date, that kind of fruity vibe. But this one has a lot more florals, and I think it definitely comes across a little bit more delicate. After about 10 to 15 minutes, it definitely dries down and it becomes a lot more soft, inviting, and not as harsh on the nose. So this one, at times, it does remind me of something like Lattafa's Eternal Oud, where it's sort of mimicking that Grand Soir kind of vibe, where it's that sweet, gourmand, kind of creamy and musky kind of vibe with that one. But I feel like this one does lean a little bit more on the vanilla, that musk, and that kind of cinnamon, because you lose a little bit of that edge from the tobacco. You still get it in the dry down, but I think it's toned back a little bit, and you get something more smooth, kind of sweet, and more inviting. Definitely an interesting fragrance for sure, and I would definitely say that it's worth the $15 price tag. I have seen people selling these online for like $45, $60, and it's honestly ridiculous that people will go out, buy all of these, and just sell them for 3-4 times the price. Call it a hustle. I find it irritating. This one is fantastic for the price. Again, 8 hours or so of longevity, and this one, it smells absolutely fantastic on that dry down once you kind of get over that white kind of creamy opening as well. Anybody can wear it, especially if you want something gourmand, kind of warm and inviting. And I think if you want something a little bit powdery, sweet, and tobacco heavy, this is going to be a really, really good buy. And that one is Monarch's Red Tobacco Vanilla. So let me know if you've seen any of these fragrance clones at your rack stores. Again, it's kind of strange because they're popping up here and there, and depending on the store you get, you might have a dry spell, and then like me, just went one day and there was a ton of these fragrance clones. So let me know if you've seen any of these that you like, and let me know your thoughts. Again, thank you so much for watching. I've been Eli with Common Sense, and until the next time, bye-bye. Oh my God, that's strong. This smells really good.